Hi everyone, it's Tracy at TierraCast. We've got a great video for you today, part technique video and part project video. We're going to show you how to use different patinas to add color to TierraCast components. We'll be demonstrating this using some Dulce Vida links, and then we'll use one of those links to create a really simple but stylish bracelet. The great thing about using patinas is it offers so much possibility. Let's get started. To make this bracelet, we're using a Jardin Bar Link, a Jardin barrel bead, 34 inches of 1.5 millimeter cord, and some coloring agents. There are a few on the market, but for this video we'll be demonstrating Gilders Paste, Vintage's patinas, and Ranger's alcohol ink. To start with, we want to make sure that the parts are very clean. I've used a cotton swab and acetone to clean these thoroughly so they're all prepped and thoroughly dry. You can also just use soap and water. Gilders Paste is a waxy paste that comes in many colors. When it's fresh, it's fairly soft and easy to use, but if it's been sitting around and is dried out at all, you can soften and or thin it with mineral spirits or turquoise or a spritz of acetone. You can use it right out of the can or put some into a palette and thin it in the palette. You can use a paintbrush, cotton swab, or even your fingers to apply this. Just pick some up with your tool and apply it to the piece. With this piece, I applied it very thickly so that the color got into the recesses of the piece, and then I wiped the excess off of the top. With this one, I'm just going to put a light coat on the top and leave the black so that you can see it. Gilders Paste will dry to the touch pretty quickly, but you really want to let it cure for 12 hours or so. Once cured, you can seal it with a clear acrylic product, either brush on or spray. Also, this link is reversible, so you may want to color both sides. Vintage's patina is an opaque blendable ink specifically made for coloring metals so you don't have to seal it afterwards. A brush works great for this. Just put some drops into a palette or onto a piece of waxed paper and use your brush to apply it as desired. As with the Gilders Paste, I can put it on thickly so that it gets into the recesses and then wipe it off the high spots. Vintage has a relief block that works great for this, but since most of our components are plated, you do want to use this block very gently so you don't go through the plating. You can also use more of a dry brush effect and put the ink on just the surfaces of the piece, letting the black recessed areas show through. It dries pretty quickly. Now this ink is fairly opaque, but if you want to make it more translucent, Vintage also has a glaze that acts as an extender and gives it a more translucent effect. You don't want to thin it with water. You can, however, do your cleanup with water. Alcohol ink is a thin ink that dries fairly translucent. It acts almost like a watercolor. Again, I'll use a palette and a paintbrush. You can put some on and then add additional colors and watch them blend together. If you want to remove some of this after it's dry, you can use a cotton swab dipped in a little acetone or rubbing alcohol. After it's dry, you can seal it with a water-based sealer like Ranger's Gloss Multi-Medium. Use rubbing alcohol for cleanup. Alright, now we've got all kinds of colored samples to choose from. I'm going to choose one of these to make our bracelet. The first thing I'm going to do is use a pair of bracelet bending pliers to give the link a gentle curve. You can also do this without the pliers. These parts are pewter, so they're slightly soft, so you could just press this against a bracelet mandrel or something else round that's about wrist size. You want to be gentle, you don't want it to bend, you just want to give it a gentle curve. Now I've taken my 34-inch piece of leather cord and cut it in half, and I also used my scissors to trim the ends, all of the ends, at a sharp angle. I'm going to take one of those pieces and thread it through the hole at one side of the link and bring that all the way to the center. Now I'm going to tie an overhand knot right next to the link. And repeat that with the second piece of cord. Now I'm going to take one side of the bracelet and thread both strands through the barrel bead from one direction. Now thread one of the strands from the other side of the bracelet through the barrel bead from the opposite direction. We still need to get that fourth strand through there, so pull all of those 3 strands to the one side of the barrel bead as much as you can. And awl is also helpful here to help make some room. Then thread that last piece through. Adjust the beads and the cord until the bead is centered and the circle is large enough to fit over the largest part of your hand. Then tie the cord ends at one side of the bracelet into an overhand knot right next to the barrel bead. And repeat that on the other side. At this point, you can add a tiny drop of super glue into these knots just so you'll be sure that they won't come undone. And then trim the extra cord. Now to tighten this bracelet, you just pull the knots away from the bead. And to make it smaller, you pull the sides of the bracelet until the knots are next to the bead. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep up with the rest of the things that we are doing on our Facebook page, Instagram, and Pinterest. See you next time.